Oh, welcome in, boys and girls, children of all ages, to another episode of Teal Town, USA After Dark, after another victorious Sharks game. Welcome in. Do us a favor, as always. Hit us up on that social media, ladies and gentlemen. We're on all of them: YouTube, Twitter, Instagram, Facebook, Reddit. Find us. You know us. You love us. Give us the likes. Give us the follows. We love all of it. And as always, hit that subscribe button if you will. So, it's me. Hello. Hey, AJ. Here with Landi and Puck Guy, coming to us live from Stuffed Pizza in Milpitas. Yep. What's going on?
Hey, guys. Thanks for having me in. Wrapping up another successful viewing party here at Stuffed Pizza in Milpitas. Had a good turnout tonight and gave away a lot of bobbleheads and Teal Town coasters that were signed, like from Erik Karlsson and Marcus Sorensen. Definitely had a great time indeed. I'm going to sneak somebody in here really quick. Felix Chow celebrating his birthday here. What did you think of the game tonight?
I thought the game, it started off a little bit at first. The Sharks, obviously didn't look great in the early going, but they picked it up. I thought, they found their game as the game went along, and honestly, I felt like it was it was pretty gutsy win by them, and a win's a win. So I mean, that's just how it is. So yeah, pretty good game. But,
I love the fact that Jessica's behind you guys photobombing you. That's awesome.
There we go. Hi, Jessica. Yeah, it was a great time tonight. We had everybody out on a good time. AJ came in there a little earlier with his wife. It was freaking awesome. Pizza's good and everything. And, a lot of Sharks fans happy on this one. And celebrating a win that gets them into the number 3 spot in the Pacific Division.
Yeah. This is awesome, and I got to hit this up just because Burge 7F91 watching from Fort Wayne, Indiana, home of your Fort Wayne Comets, ladies and gentlemen. And the only reason why I say that is because I was actually born in Fort Wayne. So, stick taps to you, my friend.
Nice.
I left before I turned 3, but nevertheless, so. With that, let's get into this one before Kura's connection dies. Let's see. Oh, no, it's not going to die. He's not at home. All right. So the Arizona Coyotes start this. A goal, a minute and 33 seconds into this, and you go, oh, crap, here we go. They second of back-to-backs. Sharks let in a goal in the first 5 minutes of a game, and you're going, oh, that's not a good sign. And then less than 45 seconds later, they let in the second goal, and you're like already going, well, okay, what else can we get done tonight? It is Saturday, so, And then Couture at 11:01 gives the team something to go, all right, maybe we're not going to, crap the bed this time. So after one period, Landi, what are you thinking? What are you looking at?
Coming in, I was 3 minutes late into the game, and I missed the scoring. And it's like, oh my gosh, what happened here? On the first goal, really just the defenders kind of being a little over aggressive, kind of being a little lackadaisical, in the defensive zone. And, they kind of hung Martin Jones out to dry there. So, after the first half of that period, I thought that they got their footing. They looked a little shell-shocked, but you started to see them pick it up and get to that really heavy forecheck game that has been the staple of the, of their winning success in November.
Kura?
Yeah, I thought they looked really bad early on. Reminded me of the playoff series against the Golden Knights, how they just let the pucks go in and all that. And it was just not a fun time to see. But you saw that first goal going by Logan Couture. And what this team has seen over the last couple of years, they've had that resiliency. They've had that feeling of okay, we've done this before now. We can do it. And it's just 2-1 after one. But then more would come from Team Teal down the road.
Yeah. I did feel a little bit better after Couture got that. Maybe it settled the boys down. Again, remember, Arizona played last night against Vegas, ended up losing, I believe, in the shootout. So, yeah, they played. Either way, both teams were traveling for this one, but I'm sure the Sharks were already in Arizona before the Vegas game even started. So you had to think that, all right, we're okay here. Then second period comes, 2:55 in, Dylan Gambrell with an absolute snipe shot, Kura.
Dude, it went through Ranta's armpit and into the net. It was just an unreal snipe on that one. It was probably one of the sickest shots I've seen. I think Couture had like one earlier in the decade in the playoffs against Detroit, and that was just a wicked, sweet shot that tied this game up. And I think it electrified the team and the crowd of Sharks fans in Glendale tonight.
Yeah, Landi. I mean, if that puck had been made of like right guard, he would have never have had to like clean his underarm. That thing came in so hot and heavy.
Yeah, I mean, Gambrell has been in and out of the lineup, and you're wondering kind of where his head's at insofar as confidence with the puck and just the confidence that the coaching staff has. And so, I think it was Pashelka or it was one of the beat writers were saying that, this could be Gambrell's last shot at this. So it's good to see him make the most out of his opportunity. It'll be interesting to see how they slot Suomela in, if they even do. If maybe Peter DeBoer going forward will like this kind of deployment instead. But yeah, I mean, just doing some yeoman's work and, going to where he needs to go, honestly. If he's going to be successful, he's got to be 5 to 10 feet out in front of the net. If he wants to get those kind of deflection goals, then he needs to be there. But it also uses skills, which is he's got a little bit of trickery with the puck, and he's got a good shot, got a good release. So I like to see him shoot and continue to do that.
Well, it's funny you bring up the whole idea of like Gambrell, like maybe this is one of his last opportunities or whatever. But it's like we've been saying that about Suomela. Saying that about Radil, we're saying that about Gambrell. At this point, it's like, please, nobody else get goddamn injured because we're tired of seeing people come up to see, is this their last opportunity? We're unsure. We'll find out.
Yeah, it was interesting because Rob Iman had something in there. He thinks that Radil might be waived. And you know what? I kind of agree with him. I could see that happening because Suomela is playing well. We'll see how the injury is with him and see, if he's able to suit up or not. But between switching him and Gambrell in, it seems like the team has kind of found a good stride. I loved Noah Gregor's game down there on the fourth line as well. Really using his speed, really evident in that second period. I thought he was the Shark with the most speed, quite frankly. And, it's interesting to see, again, top line Barclay Goodrow. He's kind of showing me a little bit of Mark Stone-esque kind of game, stripping that puck. He had some really nice strips tonight. So I'm liking the tweaks.
All right, Kura, I mean, you have like no percent left, so get your final thoughts in here.
I was just gonna say you're seeing fourth line contributions, which is always a plus, and when you need secondary scoring, Gambrell bearing it, that's always a huge thing. And like you said, Landi, you're seeing Suomela, you're seeing good things coming out of the second six. That's always a key thing when you need it to go down the road. So thank you everyone for checking out the crew back here. Thank you so much for joining us. We appreciate it. I'll send it back to Landi and AJ to take you the rest of the way, but appreciate it all. All the best. Get home safely, and guys, the boys are looking good.
They're back in town, so to speak.
Take care, gang.
All right, man. So after all of that, Timo Meier at 8:52 of the second would give the Sharks the game winner, what would end up being the game winner. But like the first time the Sharks have come back after, being down by 2 goals in like, I can't even remember what seems to be forever. And I'll be quite honest, the third period I thought was okay. Like, again, both teams, second of back-to-backs. The Sharks, this is like what? Like their 7th game in like 12 days. I mean, they've been playing a lot of hockey. played Wednesday, played Friday, then today. So 3 of 4. This one on the road, obviously. So it did feel like both teams were kind of, I don't know, clutching it a little tight. Sharks seemed like they were kind of playing to get not to get the win, but to not lose. Erik Karlsson made a couple suspect decisions in the third, but lo and behold, with 30 seconds left, well, at a minute 30, they pull Ranta. 30 seconds left, Couture, seals the deal with an empty netter. So,
it's interesting that you talked about Erik Karlsson, because he did have that suspect tripping call, and I did not like that call at all, just because of the way in which he's got possession of the puck and then the player trips over a stick. So that being said, the reason why I bring that up is because he was super pissed off, and the Sharks would take another penalty, and he would be out there on the penalty kill and was single-handedly the best penalty killer out on the ice. So it's interesting that, he did have some suspect plays. Definitely agree with you. But I also like the way in which he rebounded. And it was funny because you heard Shark voice saying, "I think I like me some angry Erik."
Well, who doesn't like pissed off Jumbo? I mean, that's been a thing for the Sharks for quite some time. There's a couple players, you get them pissed off, all of a sudden they play a lot better, or their anger focuses them and they play a lot better. So what do we got to do to piss these guys off sometimes? I'm just saying.
No, I totally agree with you, right? I mean, Angry Joe is was unstoppable back in the day. We've seen when Timo Meier gets really pissy and how good his game elevates. The same thing with Kane too. When he's got that blood pumping, he skates all out and he uses everything he's got. So, it's good to see Erik Karlsson kind of, get a little bit of a kick in the butt there just to help the guys out in the third period, because he did some yeoman's work, especially in the boards late.
Yeah. A funny thing to me, just looking at the numbers, just cursory level at this point, Noah Gregor, walking around with the BDE after having his first NHL goal last night, only got 9:30 tonight. I thought he still had good wheels. I thought he had a couple good looks tonight. I'm a little shocked that it was, 9:30. But then again, the other thing that I think we can be happy about, especially when you consider, again, that the Sharks up until, from just about the jump, were playing from behind the 8 ball, and yet none of the forwards broke 20 minutes tonight. And we saw when Sharks were, I don't want to say forced to roll 11 forwards in 7D, but there was, you saw guys like Meier and Kane getting upwards of 23, 24 minutes. Nice to see them under 20 minutes. Another guy who kind of stood out for me tonight was Marcus Sorensen.
Yeah.
There was times for him, well, at least for me, there'd be a couple times where you go, okay, that's a solid play. And there's a couple times I go, what the hell is he doing out there? But
no, I loved the forecheck that he brought tonight. You could definitely see he was jumping up in the play and not being afraid to get physical in the corners. And when Marcus Sorensen is going and when he's feeling good, he's able to retrieve pucks like no other. And it's one of the reasons why Joe Thornton particularly likes playing with him. Joe Thornton has always loved to have a hardworking winger on his side. And having Sorensen, I think, helps elevate his game as well. I liked LeBank's game down there as well. LeBanc actually chipping in a lot on the defensive end of the puck, going back to pucks, making sure pucks were leaving the zone, really being very careful with the way that he was playing. So it's good to see him, work on that defensive part of his game. Of course, we all love to see him, shooting the puck and scoring, and he did get a couple looks at the net tonight, but I was very impressed with his defensive skill.
Yes. The other thing that we need to point out, definitely, 15 games for the month of November. We talked about this at the end of October, coming into this month, that the Sharks, this would be the time, because obviously October sucked and they were essentially at the bottom of the basement of their division. And it was kind of like this, the schedule makers did the Sharks some favors, because you had, 15 games, 4 of them away. That's, holy crap. Are you kidding me? So to see that 15 games, only 4 of them outside of your barn, and up until tonight, all of them were in the same time zone. That's huge, where you can do a day trip to Anaheim, a day trip to Vegas, a day trip to LA or whatever. And we talked about at the end of October that this month they need, seriously, the Sharks need to take advantage of this scheduling and bank points. And like I said, coming into this, they were like 7th out of 8th, and that's only because LA is horrible. And look what happened a month later, and the Sharks have vaunted themselves into the 3rd spot. They are officially in the playoffs now. They are, part of the group. Not even in the wild card right now. They are in the group. So this is spectacular. I mean, 11 wins, 4 losses. Are you kidding me?
No, it was just exactly what the doctor ordered. I mean, that October was very reminiscent of 14-15 Sharks. It looked very lackluster. They were trying to rotate in rookies like they did in that time of trying to retool, and there just seemed to be everything that could go wrong was going wrong. The goaltending was horrible, defensive zone coverages was horrible. About the only thing keeping them afloat was that PK, and that PK continues to rock and roll. And that's a real powerful strength of theirs, and especially when they're able to generate offense on the PK, it's surprising how good it's been.
Well, and you consider last night's game, they only took 1 penalty versus LA, and then tonight they took 3, but 2 of them were from Erik Karlsson, and all happening in the 3rd. That was a little bizarre, to say the least. And the other thing I want to note, too, the Sharks were 11-4 over the 15 games in November. The other thing that we need to take into account, those 4 losses, Aaron Dell started 2 of them.
Right.
So that's saying something. And the other thing that needs to be taken into account right now, Martin Jones with tonight was a 913. Including tonight, his last 4 games have all been 913 or better. And we haven't seen that in quite some time.
Yeah, so let's see. Going back through his game stats here, yeah, he posted the 917 against LA, posted the 971 against LA, and then the 913 tonight, the 964 against the Islanders. How could I forget that? So, right. He's right now, I think they haven't updated the game stats yet, but he's got his 150th win as a Shark. He is riding an 896 overall save percentage, but he's probably going to get a point or 2 tonight. So he might be breaking that 900 fairly soon.
Yes, I would like that in a huge way. And the other thing I think we need to consider is the fact that, last night in 2 of their last 3 games, they played the worst team in the Pacific. It's easy to get lulled into a sense of like, oh, maybe we're not this bad and we're a lot better than we thought we are. And then all of a sudden, oh, no, here's the number 2 team in the Pacific that might, take the opportunity to put us in our place. Then they get out to those quick 2 goals, and you kind of go, oh, boy, this is what I was worried about. But they find the way to win. Dude, we talk about percentages. Ronta tonight, 897, not great. Sharks, the 52-48 in the face-off circle. Again, perfecto on the power play, giving Arizona 3 chances. The penalty kill is just insane this season. I don't even get that. All the other numbers somewhat marginal, but 30-23 in favor of the Sharks on the shot clock. You got to love that. The only thing I didn't care for tonight was
giveaways. What was the giveaway?
Giveaways. I always get that. But boy, Brent Burns early in this game, and even Brendan Dillon on those first 2 goals for Arizona. And Brent Burns has not had a good November, ladies and gentlemen. He hasn't had a good season, to be honest. And the fact that all-star representatives were evidently announced earlier, either today or last night, and it has Couture, Kane, and Burns as the listed potential reps for San Jose. And I'm going, Burns, really? Over EK65? And you go back to the end of October, Vlasic, LeBanc, Hurdle, Burns, Karlsson. You had 5 guys that were all like in double digits for plus minus. And again, I don't want to go into the minutia of how valuable that stat is. I'm just saying, for what it is, you had 5 big name guys who were all not looking good. And as it stands right now, after a month goes by, everybody, LeBanc, Hurdle, Karlsson, they all improved their plus minus significantly, with the exception of Brent Burns. Coming into today's game, Brent Burns was 3rd in the NHL with plus minus as the worst minus in the league. Not in the division, not in the conference, in the league. The 2 players ahead of him, Detroit players. We all know that Detroit right now, worst team in the NHL. So that kind of does speak volumes. So I'm just a little shocked that Burns was, the call that they made rather than EK65, who everybody knows I'm not the biggest EK65 fan, but dude has really, similar to last year, didn't start off gangbusters, but everybody said, well, that's because he's not played the system, new area, new system, new coaches, new players, blah, blah, blah. And then right around, early December, after the return to Ottawa, he turned it on for about 6 weeks or so until he got injured, ironically enough, in Arizona. But he had a remarkable run there. And November, EK65 has had a really good run. Would I like him to work on his turnovers and giveaways? Yes. But point-wise, he is putting up the points.
Yeah, and it's interesting that you're talking about the blue line and talking about how Erik Karlsson has really upped his game quietly, and this is a good thing. We all know how how Marc-Edouard Vlasic, when he's playing his game, you're not talking about him. And right now he's sitting at a -1. He was so putrid in that beginning of October. I mean,
oh, dude, at one point I think he was like -12 or 13.
Right, and just to see him pull that out and to be quite respectable, and not only that, but I think he's finally kind of understanding where Erik Karlsson is going to be on the ice. There is one criticism that I have with the EK 65 and Marc-Edouard Vlasic pairing, is just that both of them are very reliant upon stick checks. There's not really a physical player within that pair. So, I was the thing that would kind of made me a little skeptical that would work. But you know what? I mean, they're making it work. I like the way that Erik Karlsson now feels comfortable to make some of those high risk, high reward kind of plays, especially out in the neutral zone, because he knows he's got Pickles going to bail him out. So, I really have enjoyed that pairing. And you know what? A guy that we haven't talked about enough tonight, and I think he just continues to show that he belongs, and you're not going to be able to pry him out of the lineup, is Mario Ferraro. That kid has continually impressed me with just the motor he has got. He is 100% all the time. That kid did not let up on a shift, and so close to scoring his first goal again tonight. He had a great look in the slot, and then a Coyote forward was blocking this prime shooting spot. So, that the blue line is coming together quite nicely. We'd all love to see Burns, pick it up a little bit in his own zone and maybe generate a little bit more from the point. But you know what? When the other guys are collectively chipping in, you can make up for a Burns. So it's good to see them all pick him up.
Well, the thing about Ferraro is, and I go back, as being a San Francisco Giants fan and watching that team come of age, Ferraro is just a little reminder of me as to Brandon Crawford, where there was a lot of, well, this kid, he's got to be able to hit at least 220 to stay in the big show. But you would look at him defensively, he had tools. You can't coach that. That's just athletic gifts that you are born with. And Ferraro he invokes the same memories to me, is that this kid has gifts that it's just the instincts. He's born with it. He's got the wheels. He knows where to be. He knows to make the smart play. And the stuff that he does need work on, that stuff you can coach. So
Yeah,
I can't
that's
wait.
just the polish.
Yeah, I can't wait to see this kid in a couple of years. And can you imagine, I don't know, 5 years from now when Erik Karlsson is like a 3-4 pairing with who knows, and your top pair is like Merkley and Ferraro. I mean, it could be a lot of fun. I'm just saying.
Oh no, I totally agree. And having him on the contract that he's at right now for the amount of minutes that he's providing, it's just really good. And again, he hasn't given the coaching staff any reason not to play him as much as he's been played.
To the detriment of Tim Heed, unfortunately.
Oh boy, Tim Heed,
Sleepy Mofo. Damn, AJ saying something positive about EK65. Are we in bizarro world, dude? Again, I've put it out there. I'm not a huge EK65 fan because I believe defensemen should play defense. Like, yeah, Dan Boyle put up a lot of points, but he was also pretty defensively reliable, especially when he wasn't shooting on his own net. But he was a pretty defensively reliable guy. A lot of times for me, I see Karlsson half-assing it on the defensive side of the puck. He seems much more interested in playing offense. It's that similar kind of look from like a Richard Sherman or a Deion Sanders in football, is that they're so gifted with speed and everything. They're so interested in trying to pick off the pass to run it back for the touchdown because they're so quick that they might jump early, or they might make a silly mistake and they end up getting burned for it. Now, does that take away from the fact that they're incredibly skilled and gifted? No, but it does go to show that I'm telling you, there's just do me a favor, watch EK65 isolated. Just watch him for 5 straight shifts when he comes out. You're going to see a few times on the defensive side he's kind of gliding. I just wish he would move his feet more because he's so fast. I just want to see him move his feet more. And there's been so many times where the last person you see in front of either Jones or Dell before the puck goes behind them is EK65. And you watch those plays and you go, if he had just moved his feet, might have been the difference. But anyway, but that said, EK65 has had a hell of November, and I hope it continues. I'm rooting for the guy. I want the Sharks to win, but I'm just, look, and right here, me and AJ are realists, just calling it like it is on EK65. Exactly. And again, and I'm going to say this a bajillion times, when you're the highest paid defenseman in the NHL, not the division, not the conference, in the entire league, when you're the highest paid, you're going to be expected to be the best NHL defenseman in the league, okay?
So, and it's interesting also, AJ, that you're bringing up, best defenseman in the league. He was not only regarded as one of the best defensemen in the league, but he was among the best players in the league. He was up there with Sidney Crosby and with, Evgeny Malkin or Ovechkin or whatever as a type of game-breaking kind of player. I still don't think we've seen him at full, at full health. I think he's in the 85s, to be quite honest with you. I think that groin is still kind of healing and still trying to figure out how exactly he's supposed to, move around out there on the ice. But once he hits peak Erik Karlsson, man, he should be at least a point a game kind of player. And a point per game kind of player also is sound in his defensive end because he needs to make those plays, in order for his team to have success. So, I think, again, I don't want to make excuses for the guy, but he definitely has turned it on here in November. It definitely kind of reminds us that, he might be coming out of something still. And insofar as that might be what's bothering Burns too. He doesn't look, to me, Burns doesn't look as strong in the corners as he has before. He doesn't have that like wrecking ball mentality, which makes me think maybe he's nursing something, or maybe he's something a little tender. He seems to be a little tentative and seems to be choosing his spots more than he normally does, where he just is like a mad dog on a puck.
Yeah. And again, back to finally touch on the Karlsson thing, highest paid defenseman in the league, highest paid Shark, and, 5th in scoring right now. I don't expect him to lead scoring, but I expect him to be maybe a little bit higher than that. Definitely should be in the Norris conversation. Definitely should be in the All-Star conversation when you're getting that kind of dough. So let's see. Let's hope that this year continues to get better and better. Let's hope that he's able to get better in December and to continue this, because we're stuck with this guy for another 7 years after this. So I'm just saying.
I hate to break
hope.
it if you don't like it. I mean, he's pretty hard to move.
Yeah, right? So anyway, that's where we're at. Again, Sharks just have an incredible month of November. Best November, I think, in franchise history. Right now, as it stands, Edmonton at 35 points, Arizona at 34. So obviously made this game huge, because obviously if Arizona wins this tonight, they take over the top spot in the Pacific. But instead, they remain second. San Jose now with 31 points are now in third, just above Vegas and Calgary, who both have 30 points. And we all know the, shall we say, interesting things that are happening in Calgary right now, and I'm going to leave it at that. But right now, there's no hotter team in hockey other than Winnipeg. Both the Sharks and Winnipeg are 8-2 over their last 10. No one has 8 wins over their last 10 aside from those two teams. So let's continue it now it's come back home, and you got to face Washington. Now, you thought that like tonight was like, it should be a pretty big test. The second team in the division's in Arizona been playing some really good hockey, but now you're going to be hosting the best team in the NHL in Washington.
Yeah, I mean, and you get to see the Alexander Ovechkin and John Carlson show kind of come through town, and it'll be interesting to see where the Sharks kind of stack up against them. I think that they've been playing some really good hockey. I think this will be a good test to definitely kind of show where we're at, a good barometer game, so to speak. And I expect to have another good defensive showing by the team. It was a little ballsy, shall I say, to play Martin Jones on the back-to-backs, but it will be interesting to see who gets that start. I would assume it would be Martin Jones. So, you got to worry a little bit on the on the fatigue factor, but they are off till Tuesday. So, it'll be interesting to see. It'll definitely be a good metric as to where the Sharks are.
Well, not only that, but starting Tuesday with Washington, you get another stretch where it's 4 games in 6 nights. Washington, then you got to go to the Eastern Swing or the Southeastern Swing, Carolina, Tampa, Florida, Nashville. Tampa and Florida being back-to-backs. I would assume that Dell will start versus Tampa, being that Tampa is right now 6th in their division, where Florida is 2nd in theirs, and then Carolina being 4th in their division. It's going to be an interesting run. And to see how the boys look now, again, they've essentially spent the entire month at home of November. Even December is not that bad. They have this little 4-game roadie to, Thursday, Saturday, Sunday, Tuesday. So it's like they leave on a Wednesday, come back on a Wednesday. They're gone for a week, play 4 games, and then they're home for 2 weeks. And then don't have to leave until the day before New Year's to play at Detroit. So, again, December is another opportunity to bank more points and really start having something together where you can feel a little comfortable. Maybe you get to the point where you're able to put a little more gap between the pretenders and the contenders. I would imagine that Anaheim and LA are going to continue to drop. Vancouver, I don't know, man. I look at them one day and I'm like, God damn, those guys could be anyone they want on any given day. And then the next day you're like, how are these guys like above Anaheim and LA? Like, you know what I mean? They are so inconsistent, but God damn if they aren't fun to watch.
I mean, they've got quite a bit of collection of talent there going on, and you're starting to see it gel just that little bit. I think that they're still a year off. I think that this year is their wild card contention year, and then I see them really moving into challenge for spots next year.
Yep.
Just looking over that December calendar, the ones that I'll be kind of watching with great interest is the Tampa Bay game. Tampa Bay has been very up and down as well. That's a team you just don't know what you're going to get from night to night basis. Nashville,
which is a far difference from last year.
Yeah,
they were weren't they already like in a playoff? Like they had already like sewn up their division by this time last year.
Yeah, something like that. The other one though is Nashville, and just how far a fall from grace Nashville has had right now, and so you could really stick it to Nashville and put them out of wild card contention just that little bit more.
Well, Colorado, dude. Colorado missed like Landeskog and there was two key players. Was it Duchesne?
Landeskog, and it was Mikko Rantanen.
Yeah, so they missed some key pieces for a stretch, and they were still able to like maintain the boat, keep it above water before they got back. Oh, wait a minute, Reznikov, you demand. Look at this. Reznikov, we appreciate your support of the show. The rest of you, again, if you would like to, we love that you watch us, but if you really want to support the show, help us out. Use that super chat option. All of that goes back to trying to make this just a better show for everyone to enjoy.
Yeah, and then, of course, you got the Vegas game, which is always important to have. You finish it out against LA and Philadelphia. So there are definitely some games that you should definitely have. You look at the Rangers, you look at the Kings, you look at Philadelphia.
Dude, I'm looking at that St. Louis game, dude.
Yeah, St. Louis also kind of interesting. It's the first of back-to-back, St. Louis and Vegas. So, that'll be a lot of heavy hockey in those two. And, it wouldn't be surprising to see Peter DeBoer doing some line tinkering and adding some players and subtracting the players come those two games.
Yeah, I'm quite sure Dylan Prout will play one of those and probably get injured in whichever one that is.
Yeah, it's been tough on Dalton this year. And
I'm sorry, not Dylan Prout, Dalton Prout. Yeah.
Yeah, and he's still kind of recovering from a head injury, and it's so fragile right now for him. You wonder if maybe he's done.
I thought he was done in preseason, to be honest. The other thing, too, is that Mario Ferraro has pretty much made it that he's done.
Right.
I think Prout was the insurance policy in case Ferraro wasn't ready for prime time, but Ferraro has made Prout completely expendable in my mind.
Oh, for sure. I mean, Ferraro has played so well. He could be, driving a Brendan Dillon out. You know what I mean? He's just
definitely
he's elevated.
Expendable.
He's definitely elevated his play, and you know how Peter DeBoer loves to have his lefty righty. So, yeah, I don't know, writing on the wall maybe.
Oh boy, it's gonna be tough. It all depends on how injuries roll between now, but we'll see come trade deadline in a couple of months here as to where everybody's at with regards to injuries, how everybody has either bounced forward or regressed. We shall see. But that's enough talk about tonight's game versus the Desert Dogs. That's enough talk about the forthcoming schedule. Have the goddamn common courtesy to give them a reach around, ladies and gentlemen, and that's what we shall do. Speaking about those St. Louis Blues, they did pick up a win tonight at home versus the Pittsburgh Penguins. Of course, Binnington just cannot be beaten for some reason. I don't know why. Oh, I really want to see St. Louis go on a bad streak for a while. The Avalanche, still, according to my schedule right now, are still playing in the third period. They're up 7-2. Jesus Christ. Donskoy is like this close to getting a hat trick. Ladies and gentlemen, he's got 2 goals. Donskoy scoring his 10th and 11th this season. Oofa. And if that doesn't really bake your noodle, remember Nyquist, whether it was tonight or yesterday, had a hat trick. And you that's the other thing when you look at that Erik Karlsson deal and you go, Anyway, Avalanche up 7-2 over Chicago with 13:30 left. The Kings are up 2-0. Wait, the Kings are up 2-0 over the Jets. And there's 14 minutes left, and the Jets only have 10 shots on goal. I don't know what's going on, and I really don't know what's going on because former Shark Joachim Ryan has the first goal for the Kings in this one. It's going to be an interesting night, ladies and gentlemen. Way to finish off November. In Edmonton, it is tied 2-2 between the Canucks and the Oil. Of course, McDavid has scored in this. The Rangers win 4-0 in New Jersey. At this point, I'm surprised that New Jersey hasn't decided to try to sell their mascot, the naming rights to everything.
Hey, AJ, I got to go run to the oven real quick because I think New Jersey's done.
Oh, hey now, ding. See, I'm just saying it. In Montreal, the Canadiens fall in overtime to the Flyers 4-3. Tatar, again, this close, another guy to getting a hat trick. In Calgary, the Flames win against the Senators. Well, who doesn't do that? Oh, yeah, the Sharks. Anyway, Flames 3-1 over the Sens. Rittich pulls one again. Another 2 for night with Lindholm. God, did every game tonight feature two? I mean, Couture put in 2 tonight. Seems like every game had 2 goal scorers. Oh, wait, let's go to Toronto. 2-1 over Buffalo. Boy. Oh, wait a minute. So the Maple Leafs right now, after firing Babcock, have still only lost 1 game, right? I think I
believe so.
Yeah. Oof, boy. And they say coaching doesn't matter sometimes. Okay. Capitals, best team in the league against the worst team in the league. What do you think happened? That's right. Capitals won over Detroit 5-2. Ovechkin in this one, though, did have a hat trick. He was able to get out of the 2-for club tonight. Hurricanes 3-2 over the Lightning. Reimer, former Shark, gets the win. And the Panthers victorious over the Preds 3-0. Boy, another one. Strawman with 2 goals. God damn, it was a 2-for night today. On the island, former Shark Thomas Greiss gets a 2-0 win over the Blue Jackets. And we already know what happened between the Sharks and the Yotes. So there you go, ladies and gentlemen. Hope you enjoyed that reach
Penguins
around.
Blues?
Well, Penguins is still happening. Oh, I'm sorry. 5-2. Oh, it went final. Okay, St. Louis 5-2 over the Pens. Oh, no, that was the first one we talked about. So either way. All righty. There you go. Again, hockey standings are looking good right now for the Sharks. Remember, just a few short weeks ago, my friends, they were I think they were like a point ahead of LA in a strong hold on the 7th spot in the Pacific Division. And now, boom, slingshotted into the 3rd spot. You love to see it. And then and for the 1 or 2 goofballs who keep talking about how pathetic the Pacific is, and that's afforded the Sharks the opportunity to do this. The Atlantic statistically is actually the worst one. So stop pissing on my Pacific parade, okay? Stop it. Atlantic is actually the worst. Deal with it. But boy, I'll tell you, now granted, Edmonton has a game in hand, but San Jose, boy, if you can put together one hell of a road trip, boy, you could come back on Christmas. Unfortunately, but you know what? I know how the internet works, so let's take a look. I want to see what Edmonton's schedule looks like over the next 5 or so, because Edmonton, if I remember correctly, they started off great. Has their last, few games, let's see. Well, they lost to Colorado. They had to go, they won in the shootout against Arizona. All right, they beat Vegas, but then they lost to LA. They lost to San Jose. They lost to Dallas. So, Edmonton, I don't know. We're going to have to talk to our boy Drew Remenda, see what's going on. Edmonton does play tomorrow at Vancouver. That could be a very tough game. Now, does it get easier for them? Yes, because they host Ottawa, they host LA. But then Buffalo, Carolina could be interesting. I don't know. We'll see. By the time Christmas rolls around, things can change. We saw what November did for the Sharks. I'm just saying.
Yeah, and you're wondering too how long how long Connor McDavid can go, and it's just
and Draisaitl.
Yeah, we're just waiting for the bottom to fall out on that ship. So we'll see. I don't think that they can survive playing this kind of game, but you know what? They're proving a lot of people wrong. I like the Sharks game at where it's at right now. I liked how they have kind of stuck it to the Coyotes, especially with where the Coyotes are positioned in the standings. So, the Sharks can hang with the tops in the Pacific. So it'd be good to see them put some more points up on the board and challenge for two spot or one spot.
Well, remember, this is the first of 4 meetings this year versus the Coyotes. So
right,
got to keep on piling on, whereas, we've already seen Vegas 3 out of 4 times. So it's I don't know. We all talked about at the end of October when we were ready to burn down SAP Center, fire everybody, just everybody sucks. Get me the hell out of here. EK's overpaid. This was really stupid. Somebody sacrificial lambs for Jones and Dell. Let's bring in Cornosh. And, there was all sorts of things going. And then what a difference a month makes. Again, Jones, 4 straight games, 9-13 or better, which is huge. And hopefully he continues on that. Tonight, yes, 9-13, but the Sharks did give up 2 goals in the first 5 minutes of the first period. Let's work on that. And the Sharks also doing well this month to get that first goal. Stop playing from behind the 8 ball. The one thing I want to see is let's get that power play back on track. Let's just get it near a track at this point. Not even on it. Just get it near it.
Yeah, again, following last night's game, I said that was definitely the area of concern for me, and it still very much is. And when you're not getting calls, AJ, you know how important it is to capitalize on, your 1 of 3s or your, 1 for 2. It's just you got to capitalize on the opportunities that you have, what little opportunities that the Sharks have been getting.
Yeah. So I think we're done here. The only thing is tomorrow, 10 a.m., hello, come on, 49ers, let's see you beat the Ravens. That's all I'm rooting for tomorrow, baby. That's all I'm hanging my hat on until Tuesday versus the Capitals. So, Landi, it's obviously right under your microphone where you can be found at least on Twitter. Anything else?
Not really. I mean, going to be interesting to see that Niners game tomorrow. Get the boys getting some rest here going in the next couple of days, which should be good. And then, gear up for next week. It'll be important to get some wins on the road.
Absolutely. I'm AJ_Strong on the Twitter, social media, blah, 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 blah. So with that, everyone, thanks to those of you who came out to the viewing party tonight, enjoyed a little pizza and brew and some gifts. I can't do it. I got to do it. It's our favorite GIF, so I got to play it for you before we leave. This is Brody, just trying to get some and not able to do it. And so he just realizes probably just better if I leave. Sorry. My favorite GIF ever. I love it. I love it.
I love Scott Hannon. He just, for whatever reason, him and Curtis have just got that chemistry, and they make Brody look like the third wheel.
Oh, okay, everybody. Thanks for tuning in. We'll catch you,
Brody.
Catch you on Tuesday after Washington. Keep it real. Keep it teal. Keep it real, Teal. Have a great night, everyone. See you on Tuesday.